Hello, YouTube. It's Lefty79, the commissioner of the NFL Stableford League, back again with you with another power ranking show. This time we are wrapping up week 2 in the NFL Stableford League season, and we're not stopping, folks. We got a lot of weeks left to come here in the NFL, in PGA 2K21, as we have only 4 more weeks to go until we head to a new game and start getting back into training camp for that, for the season to relaunch again at the end of October. So this is kind of a sprint here to week 6, which is when that break will occur. So, but right now we're in week 2, so we're a third of the way there. We're nearly, oh, I think we're past the third because I think we're only doing 5 weeks and then taking the break. So we're almost there, folks, to wrapping up this PGA 2K21 game and giving it a great send off with some awesome matchups here in week 2. And fun fact here, we have 8 teams that are undefeated in the league. We have 8 teams that have yet to win a game, and we have 16 teams right smack in the middle at 500 records. So what a great balance in the league this year so far. I'm really liking that everybody's getting their games in. Uh, Everybody reported this week, so again, 100% A1 effort there. I really appreciate it from everybody. It bodes very well heading into the new game. Even if we do lose a couple players due to economic reasons or just not wanting to play the new game, totally understandable. We'll make arrangements to figure that out. But from what I'm seeing out there from all the next makers and all of our community members that have posted videos on PGA 2K23, I'm encouraged. I mean, yeah, there's if you're a season mode guy, you're probably a little bit bummed because it doesn't look too much different. But for what we do in this league, I think it'll be great to be able to tailor your own player the way you want to. It's going to bring in the week to week strategy, that's for sure. If you know you're going to be playing at a long course, to put some more power on your character or switch your archetypes or whatever you want to do. Um, Probably you'll be probably doing that week to week on the tours as well. So I think that's going to add a little bit of strategy element to this league. So I don't think I really want to dissuade that at all because I'm really not going to be able to enforce builds or things like that. I really am not going to force anybody to do a certain build or you can only play as Tiger Woods or whatever. I feel like let's keep it open. And I just think like if once people find the meta and there's that one build that's head and shoulders above everything else, I'm guessing then we'll all find that out soon enough. But let's just cross that bridge when we get there. As far as handicaps are concerned and parity in the league, definitely I'll be taking that into account when it comes to the new Q school that's going to be happening on the tours. I'm guessing it'll be in October at some point. Uh, they'll probably do like a bunch of exhibition events like they did when 2K21 launched, and then probably go into a Q school. So wherever people apply, like wherever people end up, is where I'm guessing I will end up doing the handicaps based off of that with the new game. So if you have 4 points right now, say like just using Gatorman as an example, like you go in, you dominate with the new game, and you start off in like kinetic. You're not going to get your 4 points. That's just not going to happen. So enjoy them while you have them. I see lots of players already that have really improved since last year in the league, and there's a few here that I'm going to mention uh, in the power rankings later on that are undefeated. So kudos to them. But we're going to get going here, and we're going to roll on with these power rankings here in week number 2. I haven't posted these yet to the spreadsheet. I will get that done later on today. But I just wanted to get them rattled off here before we go into the posting mode here. I just wanted to let everybody know who is going to be where this week after 2 weeks of NFL Stableford League action. First, we're going to start off with number 32 as always, and it's the Minnesota Vikings again at the basement here at 0-2. Andrew, with a tough start to the season, with a loss at Philadelphia to Zuby 24-21 on the road. Not a great start for the Vikings. Probably the worst start that Andrew's ever had in a season. So I think that week one might have rattled him a little bit. And I think he really wanted to get a game in for week two, and probably just wasn't, might have just ran into some tough luck on that course out in Philadelphia. But as it is, he's going to have a chance to turn things around in week three as he hosts the Detroit Lions of CF. So that's a good old-fashioned NFC North rival that Andrew's used to playing against, and he has had pretty good success against him. So we'll see if the Vikings can get going and start getting back to normalcy in this league anyway, as I'm not used to seeing them at the bottom of these rankings, that is for sure. But now we're going to move to number 31, and someone that I am a little bit more used to seeing toward the bottom of these rankings, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. It's Art Vandelay and the Arizona Cardinals bringing in the number 31 spot. At 0-2, the Cardinals lost at Las Vegas, 26-23. So that was a tough one on the road there for the Cards. But Art, gave a pretty good effort there. Improved on week one scoring output wise, but just ran into a pretty determined Raiders squad at their place at the Black Hole. So the Cardinals did not move up or down this week. They stay steady. They're holding steady at number 31, as they would say in the top 40 countdown. So hopefully better days are ahead for Art, though, as he will be playing a familiar foe in week three, and that would be the LA Rams and Kevin at home. So in Arizona. So this could be a big turning point for Art if he can maybe get that one live and have a nice game, because he has beaten the Rams in the past. But we'll see if that happens, as it's really early on in this season yet, and honestly, like with the new game and everything coming up, you really can't take too much. You can take a little bit of solace in that, because with a whole new game, everybody gets a brand new start. So, but at 0-2 for Art here, and at number 31, as we head to number 30, another surprise here that's a little bit out of character is the San Francisco 49ers of Jason. Crushtastic, down 11 spots this week. Yikes. 0-2 are the 49ers after a tough loss at home in a defensive battle against the Seattle Seahawks, 22-21. Ouch. Just not used to seeing the 49ers, who are a perennial playoff team in this league, struggling the way they are right now. And I mean, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag here, but Jason is one of the players that might have a little bit more on his mind, because I did receive some notification from him that he may not be back after the transition because of him trying to find a different console. So I don't know what the status is going to be on that, but I'm not gonna. I mean, I've already started the rumor now that he might not be back, but I don't want to like tell all the people in the league that are on the waiting list to get ready. But maybe get ready, because there might be a spot available in San Francisco, as Jason might be on the hot seat here. But we'll see. He has time. We have to turn this around and head into the break on a positive, as next he'll take on the Denver Broncos on the road. So that's going to be a tough task, as the Broncos are playing great Stableford right now. But maybe maybe week four. I don't know, but it starts with it's any given Sunday in this league, or any given Wednesday, or whenever you get your game in. So as it is, I don't think the 49ers are going to be down here the whole season. But right now, I just think with all the uncertainty and the things that are going on right now, that could be causing some issues. And I know Jason's been playing a lot of NBA 2K as well, I'm sure. So Uh, some of us are just struggling to get one round a week in now because we're just waiting for the new game, and I totally understand that. But as it is, the Niners are at number 30 and looking to rebound, to use an NBA term. As we now head to number 29, who do we have here? Oh, we got the Carolina Panthers of Josiah, who are 0-2. Polecat lost at New York, 26 to 19. Could have put some more points on the board there, but the Giants were always going to have the advantage, playing at that tough home venue that they have. But the Panthers are down 2 spots from last week. And next they'll be taking on Greg's New Orleans Saints at home in a divisional matchup in the NFC South. So that'll be an interesting one, as the Panthers are looking to get on the in the win column one more time in 2K21 before we move on to the new game. Whereas Greg is just trying to get back above 500, and we're going to talk a little bit more about him later. But as it is, the Panthers uh, definitely, had a little setback this week, but not, there's 3 teams that are having a little bit more of a struggle than they are. So Josiah can take solace in knowing that, he's not at the way bottom of the league, but one good performance and he could just, shoot right back up these rankings. So, but as it is, the Panthers are at number 29 this week and dropping. As we now hit number 28, who do we have? Oh, it's David Dix and the New York Jets at number 28. They went up a couple spots this week, even though they did lose on the road at Cleveland 27-25. They definitely put out a better effort this time around. I know that home game was probably a little bit of a shock, but the Jets are usually a good team year in and year out in this league, and a little bit surprising to have them near the bottom here, but they are starting to show some signs of life and have moved up a couple spots because of that. And next they'll be taking on the Cincinnati Bengals at home. So that's a that's a chance to maybe establish themselves in the AFC East, and they're really not out of it. I mean that division, 1-1 leads that division, so they're only a game out. And as it is, they played pretty well this week. Against anybody else, 25 is a pretty good number, but Cleveland is just on a different level right now, and we'll hear more about them later. So we have the Jets at number 28. Let's find out who is number 27. Let's head on over to Houston. Houston, we kind of have a problem, as Paul is 0-2 right now, but he's up a couple spots this week due to some other teams having some struggles. But Paul played pretty good in week 2, as he gave Denver a pretty good matchup on the road, uh, only losing by 1, 27-26. So it really came down to the wire. So good on the Texans for putting out that good effort. But as it is, yeah, they're 2 games out in their division now, as the Jaguars and Tennessee Titans have started to make a little bit of hay in the beginning of the season. But hey, anything can happen, especially with the big reset that's coming in a few weeks. So, but as is, the Texans will now go on the road again to take on the Chicago Bears, who are having a resurgence this season and are playing pretty darn good Stableford themselves. So that'll be an Xbox battle. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes down between 2 Xboxers, as we have a pretty good amount of Xbox players this year, and we have yet to have a live matchup this season. So I know in years past those are always pretty fun. But yeah, I would like to maybe see some of that come back again. That'd be nice. But it's not forced. It's not something that has to happen. But if 2 people are willing to play live, I am totally for it. There's no extra, bonuses or incentives or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it's pretty darn entertaining to watch a live matchup in NFL Stableford. And when we get them, I do like to publicize them on the thread, or basically, like, say, hey, watch this game coming up on Tuesday, or whatever. I do like to hype them up a little bit, because live games, it's kind of what this league was built on, with all the Xbox players. that we had in the past. They love playing live. I mean, they're playing live right now, and that's the cool thing about that Xbox community, as they are very tight knit, and I give them a lot of credit for that. But as it is, I'll stop giving all that love over to the Xbox, even though I have an Xbox myself. But I play the game on PlayStation, which sue me for that. But you know what? It's the controller. I like the controller a little bit better, and my tempo is just terrible on Xbox. But that's to all the people that play on Xbox. Kudos to you guys. I mean, I give you guys a ton of credit because my tempo can get bad on PlayStation too, as it is. So, and then the PC guys, well, you guys are just you guys are your own breed. But PC Master Race, I have no problem with you guys either. And we got a lot of PC players as well that bring it in this league. So props to them as well. But now we're gonna move on to number 26, and who do we have for that number 26 spot? Probably a surprise, but it's Franz and the the New England Patriots at 0-2. A tough start for Franz after losing at Pittsburgh 25-22 on the road. Franz is down 5 spots from last week, so that's not a good trend. And then he's got Baltimore coming home to Foxborough. That's a big game. 0-2, I mean, in that AFC East, I mean, it's not you're not out of it yet, but Franz really needs to get a win. And honestly, he's too good of a player to be 0-2, I think. And I think Week 1 was kind of a shock, losing in overtime. But these are not. I think the Patriots probably had the hardest schedule starting off here. So if Franz can somehow pull one out at home against Baltimore, uh, that's going to be a huge momentum boost for him. But as it is, the Patriots now are looking to get that first win, and they'd like to get one before we go to the new game, I'm guessing. So I'm looking forward to seeing the stream for the Patriots and seeing if Franz can put together a big front nine, because it seems like the front nine's what's been kind of the first half they've been kind of struggling out of the gates, it seems. So we'll see. I mean, it can't really a lot of teams it's been happening with because you just don't feel it. Like if you haven't played the game all week and all you're trying to get into a round that's competitive, sometimes it takes a half a football to get that going. So, but as it is, we've had other teams come out on fire as well. So I guess it works both ways. It just depends on how much work you put in practice wise and how much you've been playing in the. If you're in another society that's really active still right now, even though we're in a lull period with the game in terms of the tours, that's great because that means you're probably going to have an advantage over a guy like me who's really only doing this and basically playing, odd career mode rounds here and there just to try to get trophies or whatever. But as it is, kudos to the guys that are staying active through this whole period. And Franz, I don't know if he's probably playing a lot of True Sim, so that does probably help a little bit. So hopefully the Patriots have a good game plan in place for Baltimore, as they are going to be a tough opponent for him in Week 3. As we now hit the top 25, this is the last of the 0-2 teams. Basically, I feel this is not the cream of the crop, but the best of the worst. It's the Buffalo Bills at number 25. Nobody circles the wagons quite like the Buffalo Bills, who are at 0-2 right now. There's no change here for Patrick, as they lost at home to Tennessee 27-26. Uh, Kind of in a reverse Music City miracle there, as it happened in Buffalo. But a big win for Tennessee, though. I mean, you got to give Platypus Brigade credit there, coming out firing in 2 weeks and really looking like he might not have any handicap in the new game the way he's playing. Who knows? But he's still got a couple points to work with for the next few weeks. But the Bills, on the other hand, I think only had one, and it just wasn't quite enough. And next they'll be playing at Miami in a big AFC East matchup against a buddy of his. So Zach. So that's going to be interesting. I mean, will they play that one live? That could be a possibility. I would love to see it, as it would be an AFC East battle. And probably one of the last times they would probably play a golf game live in this iteration of PGA. So, but as it is, Buffalo got a little bit of work to do yet. That Week 3 game is definitely pivotal in the AFC East race, as you don't want to lose too much ground early on in the season, because that's you're always going to be fighting for tiebreakers later, and getting a big win against Miami on the road would be very beneficial for a tiebreaker going forward. But we'll see if the Bills Mafia travels down to Miami, and if they are all there to cheer on their squad, and maybe in a possible live game. That would be interesting to see. But as is, we're going to hit the number 24 now. Now we get into the 1-1 teams and see how this shakes out, as the number 24 team is the Dallas Cowboys of Ben Tuff. Sky Blue Ben up 4 spots from number 28 to 24. A big win against well, I wrote this wrong. I know he won. He won 27-25, and it was a big win, because I want to say it was definitely necessary for him to get a big win, because I think the way that the Cowboys play is just it's high energy, and the posts are great. The cheerleaders are great. You gotta love that. And I want to say uh, I believe he beat Cincinnati. That was the one, because I wrote this wrong on my script. But as it is, that was a big win at home against the Bengals team that is coming off a Super Bowl championship in this league, and to knock off the defending champs. Even though they do have a new owner, it's still a big boost for the home team, and the cheerleaders were very happy, and I'm sure the ownership box was as well. But as is, the Cowboys will now take on their hated division rivals, the Giants, at MetLife. That's going to be interesting to see how that goes in week number 3, as both teams are 1-1. So that's basically a battle for the top of the division right now. So we'll see if how Ben does. I'm guessing he'll probably play it sometime this weekend. So always looking for those cheerleader posts, and definitely looking forward to seeing how how them boys do. As we now head to number 23, we stay in the NFC East, and it's the Philadelphia Eagles of Zuby, who got a big win in week 2, and they move up 1 spot this week, from 24 to 23, after beating the Vikings at home 24-21. So that was a pretty low, kind of a low scoring affair, but the Eagles just had too much for the Vikings in their home opener, and that was a big win for them. As they're staying right there in that crowded NFC East. So again, if they can pull one off here in week 3, they're playing on the road at Washington. So basically, the NFC East is playing each other this week. So basically, it's like the semifinals there, to see who gets the top spot here early on in this season. But it's still way early. I mean, it's these are big games though for tiebreakers though, and divisional tiebreakers are the first tiebreaker. So in Philadelphia, the Eagles and the Commanders have a long historic rivalry. Well, obviously not the Commanders, but their previous name, the football team. Oh wait, that was like maybe 2 years. But yeah, I'll say the Redskins. The Redskins and the Eagles, they go way back as division rivals. But now as the Commanders, we're gonna see if Gator Man can take command in this rivalry in the NFL Stableford League, as Washington has had pretty good success in the past against Philadelphia in the Stableford League, back when Zach was their owner. But Zuby's looking to start a new trend though with the Eagles, and he's getting off to a good start here in week number 2 with a big win against the struggling Vikings team. But we'll see if that momentum can continue going forward, as we now move to number 22, Double Deuces. We're going to head out west for this one, and let's find out who it is. At number 22, it's the Las Vegas Raiders of Lucas. In this style, uh, up 4 spots this week. And after a big win at home against Arizona, as mentioned a little bit earlier with the Arizona ranking, still, that's a great win. I mean, you took care of business against a team that, might be struggling a little bit, but you did it at home at a place you're familiar with, and you can't look past that. I mean, that's what you got to do when you have an opponent that's a little bit wounded like that. You just got to take advantage of that, and that's exactly what Lucas did. But now he's going to be taking on a little bit more of a difficult opponent in week number 3 at Tennessee. So the Raiders now get to go on the road against a team that's been playing really hot right now. I'm interested to see how this one shakes out. As I know Lucas, is looking for that real big breakthrough win, and I think a win on the road at Tennessee, and they get the 2-1 on top of that, that would be a big momentum boost for the Black Hole. And you know, the Raiders have that commitment to excellence, and we'll see. After it's been kind of a iffy road since they won this league 2 seasons ago with Charlie Kelly at the helm. But ever since then, it's been kind of a black hole in terms of playoff appearances. So we'll see if Lucas has what it takes to bring them back to prominence after this week 3 matchup with the Titans. As we now move to number 21, let's find out who we have in that 21 spot. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers of Pat Strife, who are 1-1 after a win against New England at home by a field goal, 25-22. Pat's up 1 spot this week. And not really a big jump because we had a lot of movement in this uh, in this middle tier, and just I felt like that was a solid and workmanlike performance for the Steelers. Nothing really flashy. They just got the job done, and they got themselves a win to stay with their rivals in the AFC North, which is going to be a tough division this year as it was last year as well. But now, speaking of the AFC North, the Steelers will now be playing on the road at Cleveland in Week 3. Now that's going to be a big matchup. It's looking like Cleveland is off to a great start right now at 2-0, and Eric's got them playing great. So we'll see if the Steelers can somehow put up the steel curtain and put a stop to that winning streak that Eric has going with the Browns. But now we're going to head to number 20. We're in the top 20 now, and let's find out who we have. It's the Seattle Seahawks of Horace Phoenix, Mark. No change from last week. They stay at number 20. So they hold steady after that win at San Francisco, 22-21. Uh, really like a defensive battle that the Seahawks are able to pull out in the end. You got to win games like that, especially when it's a division game, and the Seahawks are able to do that. And now they'll get to play another bird team. They'll get to play another bird team in the Falcons coming to Seattle in Week 3. So that's going to be interesting to see if the Seahawks can keep the momentum going against an Atlanta team that's really feeling good right now. And we're going to get to them in a little bit. But Seattle holding steady at number 20. And congrats to Mark on getting his first win in the NFL Stableford League as well. That's a good accomplishment there. As we now move up to number 19, who do we have taking that spot? It's a team that I know pretty well, but it's not my team. It's one of my rivals. It's the Detroit Lions of CF. Uh, Detroit's down 5 spots this week after losing at home to the Commanders of Washington, 27-24. So Detroit's now 1-1 and are looking to get back on the winning track as they'll now head to Minnesota to take on a struggling Vikings team who's looking for their first win. So this is a big NFC North Division matchup. I'm going to be watching this one pretty closely. I'll probably be scouting the Lions because I've already played Minnesota, and I know the next time I have to play them will be at my place in the new game. So we'll see how that goes. But the Lions, on the other hand, yeah, it seems like it's a little bit of a they started off great, but then that week 2 game just kind of bit them a little bit. And we'll see if the Lions can bounce back. They're going to be up for this Minnesota game as it's a division game, and the Lions always tend to come up big in those. So as they are coming off a playoff berth from last year, and CF is always going to be there at the end. So you always gotta know that he's going to make a run, and the Lions are going to probably try to do that before we head into this new game and to the unknown of archetypes and skills and fittings and all the fun stuff that we're going to have to play with in the next few weeks. So, but we now head to number 18 and find out who we have there. We go from the Lions to the Rams of Kevin. Cupping up is down 7 spots this week after a loss at home to the Atlanta Falcons in overtime, 31-25. So the Falcons are able to get that touchdown and put that one away in SoFi Stadium, which was a pretty big win. Coming across the country to get that done was the Atlanta Falcons, so kudos to them. But Kevin's going to look to bounce back on his opponent's soil as he now heads to Arizona to take on Art. Now, will this be a live game on the PC? We'll find out. I'm going to hype it up as a possibility, but we'll find out. But I know Kevin has had pretty good success against Art in the past. Uh, I think they're even on in terms of stream battles because I want to say Art won the first time to get that playoff berth 2 seasons ago, and then I think Kevin beat him at home last year. So this might be the rubber match and the final time that they'll get to play each other in PGA 2K21. So that might be noteworthy. I might have to chime in on that one and try to join that if they are able to get that done. But as it is, no pressure. Everybody's got till Wednesday to get their game in. So, but the week 2 result here for the Rams, definitely not the end of the world. You don't like losing in overtime, but as it is, it's not the worst thing ever because you're in the NFC West right now, and no one's really running away with that division. And the Rams are still, in my opinion, probably the team to beat there going forward. So, but they're down 7 spots this week to 18 though in this power rankings. As we now head to number 17, who do we have? Let's find out. Well, we're not going to have to go very far in terms of the city, as it's still in Los Angeles, much to the chagrin of the San Diego populace. But it's the Los Angeles Chargers who are down 2 spots on their own, as they're down to 1-1 as well, and they also lost an overtime game. So a tough week for Los Angeles, for Los Angelinos, as both their beloved teams lost in overtime. But the Chargers lost at Kansas City 30-27 in a really good game. I mean, that was a heck of a game there in that division. The AFC West is definitely going to be a fun one to watch. As you got Denver in there, that's going to be a tough team. You got the Chargers and the Chiefs, and then the Raiders. Can't look past them either. But as it is, the Chargers will now head to Jacksonville, a team that's playing. Actually, the Chargers will host Jacksonville. Now, Jacksonville's been playing very well, but this is a big game for the Chargers, I think, though, to establish themselves. As Old Man Gaming is coming off, that opening win in Week 1, which congrats on that, as Allen was new to the league as a new owner. I think I mentioned that in the previous show. But now he'll take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are very battle tested in this league and are looking to keep that run going to start the season, which has been very impressive by Corey so far. But we got the Chargers at number 17, and now we're going to head to the midpoint here of these Week 2 power rankings, and let's find out who we have. It's the Miami Dolphins of Zach, who are going to stay right where they are after they didn't move up or down. There's no change to this ranking for the Miami Dolphins, as they did make him cry this week after losing at Baltimore 25-24 in a very close game there. That probably could have went either way. But next, the Dolphins will be taking on the Buffalo Bills, as mentioned a little bit earlier. Uh, and the Bills Mafia will be coming down to Hard Rock to take on the Dolphins. So that's going to be an interesting one. There'll be plenty of tables, and after what happened in Week 1 in the real life NFL down at Hard Rock, they better watch out. They better have the parking lot monitored for that because I could definitely see some more car fires happening down in that lot. So we'll see if the Dolphins can heat up inside the stadium and get going, as they've been kind of, I don't know, they haven't really lit it up. I mean, just they're kind of just playing 24 points, 23 points, which you know they haven't broken out yet. So I think maybe they're still kind of recovering from the off season a little bit, and there's only a few more weeks left in this game, so maybe he's just preparing for that transition. But we'll see. We'll see how the Dolphins do here in a big AFC East divisional matchup here with the Bills. As we now move to number 15, let's find out what we have. It's the Indianapolis Colts of Pizer. They're down 7 spots this week after a loss on the road at Jacksonville. The Colts never play well in Jacksonville, and it happens in the same in the NFL Stableford League as well, as the Colts are now 1-1. A big divisional loss there, but it wasn't so much the loss; it was kind of how they lost, because the Jaguars just put up a ton of points, and the Colts just couldn't keep up. And I mean, 24 isn't usually that bad of a score, but when you got the Jaguars putting 28 on you, and they don't have any handicap either, so it just shows how well the Jaguars are playing right now. But as it is, the Colts kind of ran into a buzzsaw there, and will now look to bounce back at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. So the road doesn't get any easier, as the Chiefs are coming in on a 2-0 record and are looking to keep making their way to staying undefeated. But if Pizer can get things going like he did in Week 1 at home, that's going to be, actually no, he was on the road in Week 1 as well. So this is the first home game coming up for the Colts. So we'll see how that goes. But as it is, Colts here at number 15. Definitely expect them to put out a good effort though in their home opener, and we'll see how that goes in a little bit here. As we now move up to number 14, let's find out who we have. Who dey, the Cincinnati Bengals of Dan, Earsy boy, is down 7 spots this week from number 7 after losing at Dallas 27-25 on the road. So the Bengals are now 1-1 in that AFC North. That's that's gonna be that they're gonna beat each other up in that division. So I don't think this is gonna be. This is one they might look back on and be a little bit, we may have missed an opportunity there. But you know what? As is, you got to move forward in this league, and that's just kind of how it goes in the NFL. And next, the Bengals will be on the road at the Jets. So you can't really feel too sorry for yourself, even though you did lose at Dallas. You do have to refocus, as the Jets can be a dangerous opponent, and I think they're going to be up for that one. So we'll see if the Bengals can regroup and get back to the Super Bowl form that they had last year, and try to get back on the winning track again. But now we're going to move up to number 13. Lucky number 13. Let's find out who got the lucky spot this week as we head over to the Atlanta Falcons of Prouse. Sean is up 10 spots, big 10 spots, after that win at the Rams in overtime, 31-25. Definitely got handsomely rewarded for that, as that was definitely kind of a shocking result. And kudos to the Falcons for pulling that one out against a very tough Rams team that is a perennial playoff powerhouse. So the Falcons move up 10 big spots, and they're going to look to try to double up on that as they now play at Seattle, which, it's not going to get any easier. You got to go out west 2 weeks in a row. Like, who the heck made this schedule? That's got to be a complaint there coming from Atlanta headquarters, but that's just the way it is in the NFL sometimes. You log a lot of miles on that charter flight, and the Falcons, if they can come to the West Coast 2 weeks in a row and get wins, I fully expect them to keep moving up on this list. So, but as it is, a big jump this week for the Falcons, 10 spots to number 13. As we now go to number 12, let's find out who is there. If you haven't heard your name yet, well, let's find out if this is you or not. If it's Greg, it's number 12, as the New Orleans Saints are down 3 spots this week after losing a close one at home to Tampa Bay, 27-26. Love seeing the fight this year out of the Saints. They're definitely on the march. Uh, they've only, you know, the lost, you lose by 1 point to a team like Tampa Bay, who's, your division rival. All the hype coming into that one, and still, they had a heck of a game there. Uh, Maybe a couple plays that didn't go their way, and if they would have had a little bit of a different result, maybe Jameis threw one too many picks, and I think uh, it would have been a different story. But as it is, the Saints are going to move forward, and now we'll be playing at Carolina in another divisional matchup in the NFC South. So uh, opportunity there to get back get back to over 500 on the road. Can't look past the Panthers though, as Josiah can definitely creep up on you and have a good round and have a good half. And with the new quarterback down there, he might be figuring out that offense, and they might be adding some new wrinkles. Who knows? But as it is, Greg is going to be focused, and he'll always give a good effort. And we'll see if the Saints can keep going this these power rankings, as they did take a little bit of a drop this week, but still number 12 is not bad considering the circumstances. As we now move to number 11, and another kind of a surprise, but the way he's been playing, he definitely, I believe, deserves to be up this high, even though they did lose in week 2. It's the Washington. Actually, no, they lost in week 1. It's the Washington Commanders, who did bounce back from that week 1 loss to beat the Detroit Lions on the road, 27-24. Pretty good win there for the Commanders. Yeah, they get a little bit of help, but you know what? You got to still play the game, and you still got to put the points on the board, and the Commanders have been doing that. And that's why they're this high up in the rankings as a 1-1 team. They're up 7 spots this week on that because of that win. And I'm going to get back here to my screen here. We'll get that back up there just shortly here. But we're left
Choose
off
the
here.
team you want to start your
We're at the
franchise with.
Commanders, and we're going to get back to the Commanders here and finish up talking about them, as they are an interesting story. As Gator Man has come in and really, I think, established that he's going to put points on the board. He wants to be an offensive oriented team. He's playing at a venue that's very conducive to scoring, and he's going to be there again this week against the Philadelphia Eagles, and there could definitely be some fireworks going on in that one. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the Commanders can do in the near future here. As we now move into the top 10, who do we have? Well, it's our old buddy Tag Rocket and the New York Giants, who stay right where they are at number 10 after a win at home against Carolina, 26-19. Just a dominating win there for the G-men. Just pretty much how they've been in this league for the last 2 seasons. Uh, just another solid performance and worthy of being in the top 10. But next, the G-men will be playing the Cowboys at home, so that's going to be interesting to see if they can get back in the lead in that NFC East as they're accustomed to. But the only reason why the G-men aren't any higher, well, partly is because they lost that Week 1 game, and I think another part of it is that there's just some teams that are just uh, really playing solid right now, but the Giants will be there in the end. I have no doubt in my mind. But in the top 10, they're just kind of laying back. I kind of feel like that's what they're doing right now. And at the end of the day, they'll be moving up if they keep the wins piling up as they're used to doing. I mean, you don't win 15 games in a season by a fluke. I mean, the Giants are for real. But we'll see because the Cowboys are going to have something to say about it in week number 3, and they're going to want to make a statement as well. So that's the great thing about this league. You just don't know who's going to be there week in and week out, and especially with the new game coming up, that's just going to throw this whole dynamic into a tizzy. As I have no clue who's going to be good after the new game comes out, and I think that's going to add a lot of intrigue to this season. So going forward, we're going to go to number 9 here, and another new owner that kind of burst onto the scene in week 1, but took a little bit of a step back in week 2. Not a major one though. It's the Chicago Bears of Austin. Redact Prime down 5 spots this week after losing at Green Bay. That was a shocker. Honestly, the Bears were in control of that game from the get-go. It's just there was a couple fluky things that happened at Lambeau, and Rodgers hit on a Hail Mary that was unbelievable to end the game, and it was basically shades of Rodgers the Cobb all over again at Soldier Field, but instead it happened in Green Bay this time. So the Bears dropped down to 1-1 due to that loss. It's a divisional loss, but at the end of the day, they're going to get to play them again. So the Bears definitely can't feel too bad about that effort as they put out a pretty good performance. And they're still in the top 10. So at the end of the day, they can definitely bounce back against their fellow Xboxer, the Houston Texans at home. So we'll see if the Texans can get acclimated to the Windy City quickly. Otherwise, this could be a Bears feast. But we'll see what happens as uh, I'm very looking forward. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how the Bears react to this defeat, as this is the first loss for them. But it was a pretty pretty fluky thing, and the highlight is out there of what happened to basically put that big 8-pointer on the board to end the game, which was necessary because if the Packers wouldn't have had that, it would have went to overtime, and the Packers probably would have lost at overtime. Just the way that they were playing going into that Hail Mary scenario. So as it is, nothing to feel bad about as a Bears fan right now. Uh, I think that team is in good hands, to be honest. As we now move to number 8, and that's a team that I know pretty well. I've just been kind of talking about them, and it's obvious, I'm not used to being in this situation, that's for sure. As it's the Green Bay Packers at number 8, up 9 spots after that big win at home against the Chicago Bears, 28-26, at a course that was inspired by a course that I actually have been to and live pretty near, and my the former owner of my company built the thing, but he actually has just passed away like in the last few weeks, so kind of dedicated that Hail Mary to the memory of Herb, because that was a big win, and I know he was a big Packer fan, especially when we had the Super Bowl season back in 2010. They did a big thing outside the headquarters, and if you've never been to Kohler, you know what? I recommend it. Not just because I live, 5 or 6 miles away from it. It's just a special place for a lot of people, and the golf, the course is something else. I mean, I'll never golf on it because I'm not that great of a real life golfer, but just going there for the Ryder Cup and seeing how it looked, and it was unbelievable. But as is, that's why I kind of chose it as my home course, and I'm hoping that it heads over to the new game as well, which I have a feeling Mayo will definitely be translating it over. But yeah, I kind of thought maybe I had a little bit of divine intervention with that Hail Mary in my favor. So sorry about that, Bears, but I'm really not sorry because I've never really been 2-0 in this league before, I'm pretty sure. So, but that all could come crashing down as we now head to Tampa Bay. The Packers and the Bucks renewing the Bay of Pigs rivalry down in Tampa. Well, that'll be interesting to see how that goes. I know Chinatown is very much looking to put one on the Packers big time and get the 3-0. But we'll see if he can as we now move up to number 7. And speaking of Mr. Chinatown, we have the Buccaneers of Tampa Bay, who are in number 7 this week, up 6 spots at a 2-0 record after winning on the road at New Orleans 27-26. So as I mentioned, they're going to be hosting the Packers in the Bay of Pigs. These are former division rivals that went back many years in the old NFC Central Division, and the Packers usually had pretty good games with them until we kind of started dominating it in the 90s, and then the Buccaneers, when they went to the skull and the pewter and the skull and the sword, then they started kicking our butt a little bit, and now we're kind of in that whole post era of NFC Central games where I think this has been a pretty 50-50 matchup over the years since the Packers no longer have to play them twice a year. So we'll see how this one goes. I know Chinatown's gonna bring it. I think he's already brought it in for week 3, so I gotta answer him now and see how I can do here down in the big sombrero. Well, not the big sombrero anymore, Raymond James Stadium. The new sombrero, as they call it now. So we now head to number 6 as we get off of that whole tangent there of uh, former NFC Central rivals. The number 6 team, it's the Kansas City Chiefs of Kike, who are up 6 spots this week after a big win on the road, or actually at Arrowhead against the Chargers in overtime, 30-27. That's a great win for them. It's a divisional win, so you're definitely going to need those going down the road. Same with Tampa Bay with their big win against New Orleans. Whenever you can get one on a divisional rival early on in the season, that's what you want to do because those are going to add up later on in the season for playoff positioning and things like that. So, but as it is, the Chiefs will now head on the road to play the Colts, who are definitely going to not want to roll out the red carpet for these guys. But the Chiefs are playing great right now, and this is probably the highest I've had them ranked in a long time. But Kike is going to try to keep it up as the Chiefs Kingdom is getting excited, and Mahomes is obviously tossing darts out there. So we'll see how they go in week 3 in that Kansas City Indianapolis matchup. That'll be interesting to see uh, going forward between two guys that have been in this league a long time. I know Kike has been in from the beginning, and Pizer I think has been here too for a long time. So we'll see how it goes there. As we now head to the top 5, and maybe a little bit of a surprise here in this 5 spot, as they were the number 1 team after 1 week, but now they've dropped 4 spots down to number 5. It's the Baltimore Ravens of Eddie, who are 2-0, but they did take a little bit of a drop this week as they hosted the Dolphins and were just able to eke one out, 25-24. Maybe a little bit of a struggle, maybe a little bit of a lot of expectations on this team after being the number 1 ranked team that does put a target on you, and maybe just quite the offense may not have been quite as much in gear, but with Lamar you can get away with stuff like that, and the Ravens definitely did enough on defense to pull this one out and should be happy for that. And now they'll be playing at New England, so that'll be an interesting matchup there for the Ravens as they're going to look to try to get back up to that number 1 spot again and bounce back from this you know, you still won the game. I mean, you're 2-0. I mean, you really can't feel bad about that. You're tied for your division lead. The Ravens pretty much did all they had to do to keep that number 1 to keep that spot in their division. But the power rankings are a little bit of a different animal. I take a little bit of different things. I take some of the other factors into effect, like hey, how well did you play at home, and like how much did you win by, and did you look good doing it, or was it kind of a struggle? But I think the Ravens were just able to pull just do just enough to get this win, and they will be looking to keep that undefeated record going on the road at Foxborough against Franz, who's really looking to get into the win column. As we now head to number 4, this is another team that's really been solid. It's the Denver Broncos of Austin. Why so serious? Now he went down 2 spots this week, uh, mainly because of some other performances that just maybe outshined him a little bit. Not outclassed, because these teams are all at the top class right now. It's just mainly it's because I have to rank them. So the Broncos are 2-0 after winning at home against the Texans 27-26. Maybe I just thought that was a little bit too close for comfort, but as it is, Paul gave him all he could handle, but it was still a nice win there at home. But now the Broncos will play the 49ers at home in a pretty high profile interconference matchup here. One of the few I think that we're having this week. So it'll be interesting to see. I think this one's pretty high profile as well. I think it's on. I think it's a Monday night football game. It might be Sunday night though. I think it's one of the prime time battles. But it'll be interesting to see if the Broncos can uh, take care of a 49ers team that's struggling a little bit right now. So this might not be a good time for the Niners, but the only the time to turn it around is now, I think, for them. But the Broncos are just looking to keep pouring it on, and they're going to let Russ cook. I mean, that's what they want to do. So we'll see if the Broncos will keep riding in week number 3. As we now head to number 3. Speaking of number 3, let's find out who it is. It's the Tennessee Titans of Platypus Brigade. They're staying right where they are this week at number 3 after a nice win on the road at Buffalo, 27-26. Now, I kind of struggle with. I think I might have had the Titans a little bit higher previously, but I said, you know what, they don't deserve to move down, that's for sure, because this was a nice win on the road at the Bills Mafia. I did not want to really move them down, but as it is, kind of kept them right at number 3. They're playing great right now. Don't change anything. You're doing awesome. And next you're gonna get to play the. I feel like I'm coaching him right now. Hey buddy, just keep your head in the game. You'll be fine. But next the Titans will be playing the Las Vegas Raiders, a team that is coming in feeling good after a nice win of their own. So this will be an interesting one. As if the Raiders can somehow end the Titans' undefeated record, that'll help them big time in their AFC West as well. So, but as it is, the Titans are trying to keep pace with their own division rival, who we will mention here in a little bit here. But kudos to Platypus Brigade, just a big improvement this season, coming out of the gates here, and hopefully long may it continue. As he's definitely been tightening it up this year in Tennessee. As we now move to number 2, let's find out who we have. It's time to go insane. It's Insane Eric and the Cleveland Browns at number 2, up 3 spots this week after a big win against the New York Jets at home, 27-25. I was a little bit leery on this one. I didn't know if he could do it, but he did it, and the Browns move up because of it. To the number 2 spot and in the driver's seat in that AFC North. So kudos to them. Well, they're actually tied now with the Ravens, but I mean that's probably going to be the battle in the early part of the season. But who knows? I mean, you still got that division's going to be a battle all the way through, especially going into the new game. But as is now, the Cleveland Browns will be playing host to the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday Night Football. We'll see if they can mimic the result that happened, just a night ago. But as it is, the Browns looking really good here to start the season. Uh, hey, who knows? I mean, they definitely got you know, might be taking the Browns to the Super Bowl in a good way, not not in the other way. So as it is, maybe putting that elf on the field really did help. uh, Impy or whatever. I don't know what the heck that elf's name is, but it's a demon of some sort. It's either a demon or an elf, whatever you want to call it. But I'll look it up. But as it is, the Browns, well, fittingly enough, at number two. And now that leads us to the number one team in the NFL Stableford League power rankings after week two. Well, it's time to restore the roar in Duval, and it's all about Shad Khan. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars of Corey, who move up 5 big spots after a dominating win at home against the Colts, 28-24, and they take a big leap into that top spot. And you got to give them credit there. I mean, that game on paper should have been a very close game, but somehow the Jaguars' offense has just exploded into points here. Uh, Trevor Lawrence and the boys are getting it going. They're slinging the ball down the field, and you gotta love what they're doing out there as a Jaguar fan. Uh, either if you're in London or if you're in Jacksonville, you gotta love it. So as it is now, the Jaguars will be taking on the LA Chargers on the road, though. This is like the first. This is a big test for them now, as they have to go across the country to take on a Chargers team that's really looking to bounce back after a tough loss in overtime. So we'll see if the Jaguars are able to do that. And I know Tony Khan will be watching it closely, along with Shad and the rest. So we'll see if the Jaguars can maintain this number one spot going forward. But as it is, to do a little quick wrap up, the biggest gainers this week were the Falcons with a 10 spot jump, the Packers at a 9 spot jump, the Washington Commanders went up 7, and then the the Chiefs and the Buccaneers each went up 6. Those are your biggest gainers of the week. And your biggest losers of the week were the 49ers down 11, the Bengals, Colts, and Rams all went down 7. So those are your biggest losers of the week. So that's a little bit of a mini recap there of the big movers and shakers in this week's power rankings. I want to thank you for joining me today, whenever you're listening to this, on the Week 2 Power Rankings show for the NFL Stableford League. This is Lefty79, the commissioner of the NFL Stableford League, and if you like what you're hearing, drop me a like or let me know in the forums or in Discord what you think. Do these rankings reflect what you believe, or do you think I'm full of it? You could think that either way, because I know there's a few people in the league that aren't really too happy with some of the decisions. But at the end of the day, everybody, we get along great. I think this league is awesome, and I love seeing the progression over the years of how competitive things have really gotten week in and week out. But as it is, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars as your number one team after 2 weeks, and I want to say congratulations to Corey on that. I don't know if it's the first time he's ever been number one, but if not, uh, if it is, congratulations, and if it's not, well, hey, here you are again. So, but as it is, thank you again for listening or watching, well, whatever you're doing with this broadcast. I really appreciate you interacting with the content, and I really, as always, I hope you enjoyed it. But once again, this has been Lefty79 from the NFL Stableford League, thanking you for joining me. Again, I'll see you down the road.